What's going on, guys, and welcome to For the Record podcast hosted by Kahlil Mckenzie. And today's special guest, I got him in front of the camera. I have my very own father, Reggie McKenzie, Sr., you know what I'm saying? So for all y'all who are always like, oh, wait, your name's Reginald? Like, your name's not actually Kahlil? Like, no, it's not, because I'm a junior, and this is Senior here who gets the name Reginald right now. So
that's right. I'm Reginald. You're Kahlil.
So I'm super stoked to have my dad in here, get to talk to him, let you guys see the side of him that I know very well, but the world might not know as much. So, Dad, I'm super excited to have you on here, and I can't wait to get started.
Well, let's get started. It's my first podcast, so let's do it.
So, jumping right into it, I want you to tell me a little bit about growing up in Knoxville, Tennessee. What does that look like? And for the people who, have never heard about it, who have never experienced the South, anything, just talk to me a little bit about growing up in Knoxville, Tennessee, your family, the dynamic there. Just give a little bit of background.
Well, Knoxville, I was born and raised, but actually all my mom and dad.
Real quick, you can go ahead and tell us what year you were born and all that too. So we get a good accurate description of what time.
You want to find out how?
he tried to sneak out fast enough.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay, born in 1963. All right, but like I said, Dad got a job, so Mom was pregnant. He came out to Knoxville. All the family was in Chattanooga. So we were the only ones in Knoxville. So we, of course, traveled back and forth to Knoxville and Chattanooga the whole time growing up, So that was the initial process of how we were raised. Now, 3 boys in the house, as you know, your uncles,
Oh, yeah.
I got my twin brother, so.
Identical.
Nobody calls us Reginald or Raleigh. And it was always twin. Mm-hmm. Everybody when you go back home, we go in the neighborhood, East Knoxville, we are known as twin. They don't say, hey, Reginald. No. Hey, twin. Mm-hmm. It was always twin. So anybody, when you hear people call it twin, they knew us from way back. It wasn't until high school when they started. Everybody saw it, the whole Reggie. Nobody really called me Reggie until high school, and that was because of the newspaper. And your grandmama did not like that. I did not call you Reggie. I called you Reginald. So that was some history, on how that all went. But we were always playing sports, and it started in the neighborhood, the YMCA teams, then the grade school, and junior high and high school teams. That's how, but we were always into every sport. There wasn't no one sport deal. It was every sport we could do, we did, from basketball, baseball, to football, and even track, throwing a shot put and disc. So we were highly competitive, and
Still are.
Absolutely, and that will never change. And as you know, your uncle always think he's better than me, but I have to break him down and let him know he's always in second. Mm-hmm. Okay, yep. And it's okay to be number 2.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, but that's how I think, how we got to be pretty good, because we both were pretty good, but we made each other better.
Yeah. So
we competed. Whether it was home runs, whether it was points in basketball, rebounds, or who made the most tackles, who made the best blocks, whatever it was a competitive, on the field deal, and even in the classroom,
Well, wouldn't Uncle Sam say that he's the one who got all the brains in the family?
Well, if you let him tell it, that's exactly what he said. But I can always say I'm the only one who got valedictorian. So
I didn't.
Yeah.
That apple did not fall to this
Well,
tree.
I'm gonna blame your mama for that.
Blame the lawyer. Blame the one who went to law school.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm sure she
gonna love that I
she
threw
would
that in
claim that she's smarter than me, but that's fine. Can't nobody take my valedictorian status. But anyway, little brother, your Uncle Samuel was definitely he was super smart.
Mm-hmm.
So he likes some subjects better than others. So, but he's a big time physician. So he put it to good use. Wasn't as big as me and your Uncle Riley was,
Mm-hmm.
but he played all the sports too. So it wasn't just as good as us.
Yeah. And talk about that again real quick. Like, how much of a role did your mom and dad play, on you guys and your success and growing up in East Knoxville in the 60s? What was that like? Seeing them go to work, seeing how they were leading the household, how did that make you guys strive to just the levels of greatness that you all achieved?
Yeah, I think hands down, and I'm biased, they're the best parents in the world. As when you go back to our hometown, everybody talks about your grandmama. Everybody talk about Miss McKenzie. So, and it should be. She was a great mom. Wish that my kids, all of you guys would have had a chance to know her, but she passed away early. So before I got married, so. But they played a huge part. And your granddaddy was not like one of those helicopter dads. He didn't coach us in anything. But he worked 2 jobs, and we knew he had to bring home the bacon, and Mom was the one that took us to where, and she had her jobs too. And but she was always there in the stands, cheering us on, getting us to where we need to be, or making sure we got where we need to be. So they were extremely supportive, encouraging, and the one thing we could not ever do once we started, they would not let us quit anything.
Yeah.
And we wasn't about to, but if we start something, and we were going to finish. So it was they were huge. With us, and really huge with the whole neighborhood, with some of my teammates. They talk about them to this day, how they, I can see now my teammates, getting hugs from Mama.
Yeah.
They hearing her voice, cheering them just as loud as they cheer for us, so it's cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that comes back, and that it was a positive deal. So, and we knew we were pretty good in athletics, but they made sure that we stayed grounded from a work ethic standpoint. You ain't gonna just show up. You're gonna work. You ain't gonna miss practice. Talking about I don't feel like you going to practice. You got practice today. You going?
Yeah.
So.
And giving 110%.
110. Absolutely.
I like that. And I know that all too well because it that echoes exactly how, you raised me and my brothers and sisters. My sisters and my brothers. So that is, for y'all to hear, I already know, but for y'all to hear, that's exactly the way that I'm parented, and I hope to parent, you know what I'm saying? So I try and be the spitting image of my dad, and I know he tries to be the spitting image of his parents. So that's the coolest thing about all that. And talk to me about what was your fondest memory growing up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and what played into your decision to stay local and put that power tee on, put that helmet on and rep the orange right there at home.
You know what? It was growing up now. You know, you talking about elementaries, even through early junior high school. It wasn't all about, I didn't grow up wanting to be a Vol.
Yeah.
So it was, the aspirations was really my next step. I wanted to make sure I'd be the best high school. Everybody, we grew up, Austin East High School is right there in East Knoxville, and with some great players, man. We used to always emulate the big dogs that were there. Yep. They were big time basketball school, but they had good football players too, and baseball, and we watched them all. But we, even Pop Warner, the Little League footballs, we went to Knoxville and we saw Knoxville College play, which is the HBCU team, and it's no longer there now. But that's who we kind of like idolize. Like, man, those some big boys. We 6, 7, all through 9, 10 years old, and that was like, shoot. We got to see them up and close, like as close as me and you. They walking on the field and they lining all those little leaguers up next to them. We could see them. So it was the reality part. We didn't see it at Tennessee at a young growing up.
Yeah.
Because they never, went to my high school and gave scholarships. So me and your uncle were the first athletes to get scholarships, full ride scholarships at Tennessee. So, that was a long time, So
yeah.
we had a.
And what year was that?
1980, high school class, 1981. So, which is, it is what it is. But when you talking about growing up, a Tennessee Vol fan, it wasn't that. Not until we started getting the feel last year in junior high school, going into high school, when we started thinking, okay, man, these guys, watching them play, you get to see some of the playbacks. We never went to a game, but we got to sell, they call lineups. They were selling papers of the lineup. You get to read about the players there, and sometimes we get tickets. Some guys give us tickets, and we get to see a game. We 15 years old. Yeah. We're like, oh, man, this is cool. And it was like, we ain't seen nothing like that. It's doggone 80,000, whatever it was. It was like everybody shouting, and it was some real football. Yeah. So it wasn't until high school, and it was like, okay, and then they started recruiting us. So it was, being at home, and our parents can come to the game, every game. So it was kind of, it was easy decision for us to wear the orange. Yeah. So that's the best decision we made. So Raleigh and I, and your uncle, we like yourself, we took a lot of trips, and I had it was a great decision, and we had some lifelong friendships there, good buddies.
I got a lot of uncles.
Yep.
A whole lot.
Boatload of them wearing the tee. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Without a doubt. So what would you say, do you think your fondest memory in Knoxville comes from your early years, or do you think it comes from those college years? Or do you have one from each time?
Oh, man. Way too many.
I was about to say, I got pick one.
Man, I can't pick one. I mean, my junior year in high school, we were playing for the championship for our division in high school, which we never won.
In football?
In football. We always won the division, basketball. Yeah. So but football, and we won. It was electric. I ain't never been to.
Who'd y'all beat?
We beat Fulton High School, And then the next morning they came up with some kind of rule. It was a three-way tie and something pretty much full. And even the team we beat them, and they end up going to the state playoff. And but that night was a great night.
Yeah.
That post game, that was special. We even before that, playing Little League baseball was great memories. Got to go to Detroit and play some ball. It was got on the Greyhound and we just
I was about to say a little travel ball back in the day. Yeah.
Stopped in Ohio, played a couple of games there, and then went on to Detroit. And we alternated each year. Detroit came into us, and those memories right there. Yeah. Growing up, and then as far as college, shoot, man, we hadn't beat Alabama in 11 years. My freshman year, they smoked us, and said after that, we went on like a 10-year run. My sophomore year.
Y'all hear that, ball fans?
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, sophomore year we got them, and that was Bill Bates and Willie Galtz and Mike Hofer. Those guys were the seniors during that time, and but we got them, and they went crazy.
Did y'all throw the goalpost in the river?
I don't know what we did with the goalpost, but I just remember at the dorm we had the somehow the McDonald emblem, the Golden Arches was in
the dorm.
It was in our dorm. So I'm like, what in the world's going on? So it was a lot going on.
If only they had mobile phones back then.
Oh, my goodness. It would have been, yeah. No. Oh, no, you don't want mobile. Oh, no. No, not social media. But it was fun. Yeah. Those just stick out right now. Those are and there was a lot more stuff.
I know. Those are great memories right there. Those are great memories.
From a football standpoint, those was good stuff. At every level of growing up. So those are the kind of things that just stuck out, right off the bat, big fella.
I like those. Those. So we talked a little bit about your time at Tennessee, and I know we could both talk all day about our times at Tennessee, but after that, what is it like going from the University of Tennessee, playing in the SEC, playing with guys like you said, Mr. Bill Bates, you played with Reggie White and all these guys, and what's it like going in the 10th round, then becoming an all-rookie team guy, starting on one of the most storied franchises in league history, playing with legends everywhere, you know what I'm saying, standing out among those guys. What does that feel like? What is the kid inside and from Knoxville, Tennessee? What are you feeling during that whole time?
You know what? I didn't make it bigger than what it was, It
was pretty big.
I know. It was huge.
It's huge.
It was huge, But being a 10th round player.
There's not 10 rounds anymore, guys.
Right. It's not. And I was a 275th player pick, so I would not have gotten drafted today. But that's fine. We had two other linebackers to get drafted, one in the first round and one in the second round. On my team at Tennessee, we all came in together as freshmen, but when I got to L.A., they was Los Angeles Raiders at the time. They drafted me, and that was the best thing that happened to me because as soon as they called me, I was playing outside linebacker for Tennessee. My last 2 years. I played inside my first 2 years. But they wanted to get the best linebackers out there, and they felt like I could move to outside. So But when the Raiders called me, Coach got on the phone and told me, we're going to move you inside. They say, you got a problem with that? And I say, absolutely not. That's my position.
Yeah.
And so, well, we think so too.
Yeah.
So that was a start. So I knew, okay, I'm at my old position. I'm at my natural spot. And I was just going to give it all I got, you know. I said, they saw something in me. And you know, I considered myself a smart, tough, physical player, you know, being a big linebacker, you know. I've seen guys, you know, they already had, you know, linebackers, you know, all pros, Matt Millen and Rod Martin and Jeff Bond, Brad Van Peltz, and all, you know, go on, you know, and Jack Squire, you know, the guys that were, you know, you knew names, Bob Nelson. I mean, there was some guys.
Yeah.
But I said, well, I may be
I'm
third.
Reggie McKenzie.
I may, that's right. I may be third or fourth team right now, but we just
gonna get there.
We're gonna keep on pushing. So, you know, but I had guys, you know, I think, you know, by the end of the summer, before we broke to come back from training camp, a couple of guys, you know, took notice. Yeah. You know, so, okay, this guy. You know, so it was cool to see, you know, because they ain't talk to rookies. You know, they kept players. There wasn't no free agency. So you stayed on team for 10, 12 years, you know. So you had young, you know, there were some young players that was a few years older than me, like the Howie Longs and, like I said, Matt Millens and, you know, some of those guys. But you had a lot of older players. Even Marcus Allen was young, you know, but we had stars on the team. You know, had older players like on the corner, Mike Haynes and Lester Hayes, Mike Davis, defensive back, Van McElroy. I mean, those guys, these are all pros, you know. So we, you know, but I kept fighting. You know, I had a great scrimmage against Dallas Cowboys my rookie year. And then the preseason I played well, and one of the guys got hurt, and I was the first one to go in. I'm like, what? You know? Shoot, they by the end of training camp, the guy got healthy, but they end up, he make it. They told me, they brought me in the office and say, linebacker coach told me, you're going to start week 1. I'm like, let's bring it. You know?
But Los Angeles Raiders.
I'm all for it. So that's how that came about, man. It was a big deal, you know, and I had great support. You know, I can remember some of the teammates. Hey, you ready? Don't worry, you ready? You know, so they had confidence in me that I didn't. You know, like
that you knew you had in yourself, but that you kind of had to.
I ain't never played in this level.
Yeah.
I ain't never played in this level, and we going against the Jets. They came to Los Angeles week 1.
Who was their starting quarterback?
Man, I can't remember. I can't remember, but we smoked them.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
We shut them out 31-0. So
first start in the NFL, 31-0 shutout.
That's
all
right.
Mike making all the calls. Hey,
that's all right.
Hang your hat on that one. Guess what? 99.9% of the world can't say that one and never will.
No.
You know?
No. I mean, you know, and then I went on to have, like I said, I had a great season that year, and I made all rookie team. So that was cool. That was cool. But I had a great supporting cast. So, you know, the guys I played with, you know, we had the number 2. That year we had the number 2 defense in the league, and that was the year that, of course, Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl, and they had the number 1 defense. Yeah. And that was by far, I have to give them their props. They were pretty good.
Yeah.
They were pretty good.
Coaches still talk about that Bears defense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, a lot of people still talk about it. But we wasn't too far behind them.
No, I know it.
Yeah, we were good.
Kind of piggybacking on that, talk to me about the hardships of then, you know, realizing that success coming from where you came from and then getting injured in a time when injury meant, that you were looking at a completely different outlook on your career. It wasn't, oh, let's get in the underwater treadmill. Let's go get needled. Let's get in the hyperbaric chamber. You didn't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? So,
no question.
So talk to me a little bit about the hardships of having to transition from, you get injured, and what did that look like?
It was tough. For one, when I got injured, they thought it was one thing and it wasn't. So, they didn't know I tore my ACL and shredded my cartilage, but they thought it was a sprain at first. Okay. Then because my leg was strong. So they, technology now is better, of course, but waited a few weeks of rehab. First day of practice, I came back, tried to cover Stump Mitchell. I was with the Cardinals at the time. He gave me a little shake and bake. I planted, boom, went down. They told me I shredded my meniscus, so they're going to try to repair it instead of clip it all out. They didn't want bone on bone. They want to keep as much cartilage in there as they could. So got that surgery, only to wake up after surgery, and the doctor told me when I came to and said, hey, good news and bad. And said, we repaired a lot of the meniscus that you had, so we only had to take out about 25, 30% of it. But in doing so, we saw your ACL was torn. We didn't know, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So now when the ACL, it wasn't no little scope, they had to open you up and, it's a different surgery and it's definitely a different rehab process. Mm-hmm. So it was just a constant trauma that probably, if I would have taken care of it early, this was back in August, as opposed to injuring it again in October, then having surgery in November, then the ACL surgery in December. Yeah. So it was like constant, and that's what, and I struggled to come back. I tried to come back the next year and end up, it didn't come back right. So
different time. It was
different times, and
that was a different time, and it's for us guys like myself and guys in the league now. Like we, it's like ACL. Like okay, let's hit this. I'm coming back faster than what they say. You know what I mean? Like that's the mentality now. And then to my whole life know that that wasn't what the case. You know what I mean? So knowing that that outlook has completely changed, and thank the Lord for modern medicine and doctors and all that now and stuff. But it's just one of those things where you always just in the back of my mind, I know and I got to say it and all this type of stuff, but it's one of them things in the back of my mind. I'm like, man, a lot of people have already seen things that I posted on social media about how I feel about my uncle's career in the NFL, playing 16 years and winning 2 Super Bowls. Put the man in the hall, give him his gold jacket. Why not? Why not? But it's one of them things too. I'm like, I'd love to know what that could have looked like, for you and everything, and because I get to see the the videos and the pictures and all that, and hear how great players who are in the hall, who got the rings, who wear the yellow jackets, they talk about them, and and that's it's one of the coolest things ever, growing up and forever. But no, I appreciate you giving us that look and that insight. That's tough to relive some of that stuff and talk about some of that. So I mean, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Take a quick breath in and so so talk to me now about the transition from going on the field to off the field. You spent some time back at UT. Got to get into all that, but more, what was that transition like from getting off the field and then your transition into becoming not only just a front office guru, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, with the Green Bay Packers, to then becoming a general manager with the Oakland Raiders. Talk to me, and now working with, as you can all see, the Miami Dolphins and their front office. Talk to me about that transition from the on the field to off the field, because like we said about injuries, it's also much different back then in that case as well.
No question there. I had zero intentions or plan or outlook in the future for being in player personnel scouting with a general manager future. Had zero outlook as a player.
Yeah.
And post career, my whole focus, because I knew I loved football, I knew I was good at understanding and knowing the game. I wanted to be a coach, and during the time of my injuries, I was working as a coach back in L.A.
What high school? What high school in L.A.?
I was at Dorsey High School.
Yeah, shout out Dorsey High.
Dorsey Dons. I worked with them for a couple of years. Had some good players, I remember the year before, I knew a couple of coaches there, and I went to see them play the year before I got on board there. And they had, really good players, a couple of them got drafted, like Keyshawn Johnson. He watching him play in high school, and they had a kid by the name of Lamont Warren. He played running back at Colorado, and he played in the NFL too. So it was a lot of guys. And then I coached some guys there that played ball in the NFL, got scholarships in UCLA, Washington State, and they all played in the NFL. So it was cool, So my thought process, I like what I'm doing. I thought I connected well. I knew, how to teach those guys the game. But I went on to, continue my NFL career. And by the time, a year before I was going to retire from football, Coach Johnny Majors had talked to me about coming on board there. And, starting as graduate assistant coach. And, he thought I would be real good, blah, blah, blah. So I said, Coach, as soon as I retire, I'll let you know, So the following year, I told him, this is my last year, so next year he said, come see me. And unfortunately, he got let go that year, but he had already told the staff there, and when I reached out to him, he told me he had talked to the staff. And so Coach Former at the time, and he said, love to have you. So Coach talked to me, but, so I was in. But it wasn't until, we had some really good players that year, and a lot of people came to see him from a standpoint of NFL people, scouts and general managers. And Ron Wolf with the Packers had came to see Charlie Gardner. And I bumped into him. So he didn't know I was down there. So, and he knew a couple of coaches on the staff. So, but we had a long talk, He wanted me to introduce him to Charlie Gardner. So I introduced him to him.
For the people who don't know, Mr. Ron Wolf used to work in L.A.
with the Raiders.
With the Raiders.
Yep, and he was involved with, with the person, with drafting me. So he knew me, from day one as an NFL player. So, of course, he knew what kind of player I was and what kind of worker, what kind of everything I was when I was in L.A. with the Raiders. So He got the job, years later with the Packers, and he was in his second year when he came in to see our team, and that was so when he left, later on that day. That next morning, I get a call from one of our coaches come into his office, and he shut the door and he told me, he said, "Hey, Coach Kippy Brown." He told me, he said, "Hey, I had a long talk with Ron Wolf." I said, "What about what?" He said, "About you." "What about?" He said, "He wants to interview you for a job." I said, "What job?" He said, "Don't ask me all these questions. Here's his number. Call him." So I called him.
Good job.
I called him, and he pretty much explained to me what he wanted to do. A couple of weeks later, I was up there for an interview. Spent the whole day evaluating some players, talking football, blah, blah, blah. He offered me the job on the spot. I told him, I told the coaching staff I worked through spring ball at Tennessee. As soon as spring ball's over with, I'll see you in Green Bay. So that's how that job came. That's how I became. I got into scouting.
Yeah.
I didn't look for scouting. Scouting found me. So
1994 to 2011, years later,
Green Bay got me an opportunity to be a general manager. So that was special, So the process, I don't know, everybody have their own journey, but to not even have an inkling of what the details of what scouting. I knew who a scout was and all, but I had no inkling. I had no vision to be a scout.
Yeah.
So when it came to me, that's a true blessing right there. And because it's what the good Lord told me. He said, "Hey, this is your route."
Hey,
and so I told your mama before you was even thought of.
Yeah.
So that we going to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Hey, and that's the truest, that's the truest sense of it. Sometimes you just got to trust that and go straight forward. And, shoot, I have no quarrels about growing up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I got lifelong friends and grew up in a great town and all this type of thing. So
it was a football town.
Oh, football town. And and then, like you said, this wasn't even this wasn't in your thought process. It wasn't in your vision. And you become general manager, not only general manager, but you get to rebuild the franchise that you once played for and return it to a state of excellence and a state of pride that, it did not have at all. And now it's, oh man, we're going to play. Oh man, why don't we win the playoffs? Oh, there's, like a lot of times people don't take a lot of that stuff. They take it for granted. They look at it and they're like, oh, we were terrible, 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 terrible all these years. And then you return to a level of competitiveness, excellence, and, sometimes something's lost there where people just forget what it was like. And, and I think that backstory, provides a perfect example of how you were able to turn a program from being somewhere where you got to learn and see everything and with eyes wide open, saying that, okay, this wasn't in my vision, but it's here now. And knowing you and knowing what you've already said, like when you're going to do something, you do it 100% and you do it until the job is done. So that it all makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense that, okay, you work for the Packers for X amount of years. You were able to see greatness, win a Super Bowl in that front office, and then go and build a program that, could go and compete, and from absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? So it's You know, it's one of those things that I'm bragging a little bit on, but you know, it's just one of them things where I just look at it and I'm like, man, like this is it don't get talked about enough, you know, but it truly, truly is. But I want you to talk about what was the feeling like going on and becoming a general manager, not only becoming a general manager, being named executive of the year. And like you said, it wasn't in your vision. And now you get something that nobody can ever take away, being the best at your position, you know, for years. You know, like that's
no question.
That's crazy.
I mean, you know, it is humbling, and I mean, it's cool. You know, I ain't make no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's cool. You know, growing up in personnel with the guys I work for, and the organization that I work for in Green Bay, definitely kind of gave me some great guidance, great standards, great leadership. It gave me something to kind of emulate. So, you know, from Ron Wolf to Ted Thompson, and even the coaches on you know, when I first got there with Mike Holmgren to when I left with Mike McCarthy, you know, so it wasn't like we had a whole bunch of coaches during that whole time either. I spent 18 years up there, and, you know, with Coach Holmgren, and then we had, you know, Coach Ray Rose for 1 year, and then Coach Mike Sherman, then Mike McCarthy. It's like, you know, it wasn't like a whole bunch of folk in and out of there.
Carousel,
yeah. And we 2 general managers, pretty much, you know. You had Ron Wolf and Ted Thompson, you know. But for the most part, this is what kind of gave me the foundation on being the type of personnel man, you know. And, you know, I still got my own way, you know, and learned this is how I would like to do it. So when the opportunity came, especially to go back to the team that I played for, that was special. And the opportunity there and seeing the work that we put in and winning, got back to winning, got back to the playoffs after years and years of missing it, you know. So that was special for me. And, you know, and just being in the NFL is, you know, it's what I do. And it's a great league. It's a great people, camaraderie. You know, you meet a lot of good people. You know, everything is not going to be peaches and cream, but you make the best of it, and that's what I chose to do. And I'm down in Miami now, working with a lot of good people there, and great coach.
Building something there too.
Yeah, we're building something. You know, it's really good to see, you know, how a co-head coach and a general manager work well together, and that filters down, you know, where the coaches and scouts get along great, respect each other, feed off each other, info. I mean, it's really a great situation. So that's, you know, and, you know, I'm constantly learning. I learned a lot in 4 years that I've been in Miami, you know, so that's a continue process that you never stop, you know, trying to get better at what you do. So, and it's a great deal, man. It's you know, and being the executive of the year, you're right. Can't nobody take that from you.
Never.
You know, I remember when I got that award, man, that's, you know, just to know, you know, I was like, okay, I felt like I did some good stuff, but hey, man, it was, you got a lot of competitive guys that, you know, when you win that award, man, it's 31 other teams with GMs who want to get that trophy too. And that was,
and they didn't get it.
No, I got it, and that's special. That's special. So I cherish that thing.
the last question I have for you before we get to some a little bit more fun, looser questions for you. What then are still, what's that one goal, and I know some of them, but what is that one goal that like you still want to achieve, whether it's in the world of sports, whether it's just in your life in general, whatever. What is that one goal that you're still reaching for, that you feel like, yeah, like this is one I still really want to go out there and I want to get?
Winning the Super Bowl as the general manager is a great goal. I did want to achieve that. But, football wise, I'm real comfortable in where, as far as goals, from that standpoint, it's because it's still, to me, you get that opportunity to touch lives and, players, and then to me, that's what it's all about. It's the camaraderie.
I can't tell you how many I can't tell you how many times I go into the facility, any facility that I've been in, it's like, oh, man, I love you, Dad. Oh, man, I love you, Dad. Oh, man, I love you, Uncle. Oh, man, I love you, Dad. Oh, your dad came and spoke to me in college, and now I'm here doing this. You know what I mean? Like, so I didn't want to cut you off because I know.
No, you good.
I just had to put that in there, too. Like, it's real.
Yeah, and, the same for me. I had a lot of coaches and guys that, that helped guide me, teammates, but those friendships and, the camaraderie of it, that's what it's all about. And, you're able to touch a lot of people, even as an older guy now in player personnel, and you kind of, get to see all these young guys and, they kind of teach them a little bit and work with them a little bit and just kind of just be around them, and you're doing a whole lot of that, from college scouting and just in general when you get the opportunity to be around, guys at these bowl games and, from Senior Bowls and the combines and the pro days and college visits, you see so many scouts and so many player personnel people that it's, it's a process that, that makes it worthwhile, because, like you said, man, people say, yeah, I know that dude, and I try to be as real as I can be, I don't try to be standoffish or, so guys want to listen, I'm there, so, but, other than that, I don't have a whole lot of things that, man, I wish this, I would, no, I've done a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a couple.
Can hang your hat on.
I got a couple Super Bowl rings. I would like to get a couple more.
Yep.
I got 4 kids, so I want at least all 4 of y'all to have one.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. I'd like to get my own myself,
Yeah, get your own. Get me one, too.
Yeah, I'm like a good luck charm for teams going to the Super Bowl after I leave, So it's tough, but that's tough. Hey,
come to the Cowboys.
You feel me? Hey, come to the Cowboys. Just go get rid of me, then go to the Super Bowl, okay? I don't know what it is. Man,
well, you need to get there and win it yourself. Go win it yourself.
That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do. But
all right.
But no, man. So now we got these are all quick ones, but they're all just fun ones. You did great, Dad. That was great. Hey,
okay.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was good. So we got a couple quick little hitters for you. Some fun ones just to end it off on a
quick hitters
on a good little fun note. So first one up, what's your favorite food spot, either growing up or now, in Knoxville?
Oh man, well, it ain't no big time restaurants, that's for sure, because we didn't grow up going to no big time restaurants.
Yeah.
But I can say, and unfortunately they closed it down, I can say every time we come home from Chattanooga, we come back to Knoxville, we get off our little exit to go to the house. There was a Krispy Kreme right there waiting on it.
The hot light is on.
The hot light is on, and we yell and scream in the back seat, Daddy, stop. And he'll stop and get us a dozen donuts. And that's
oh man,
that's classic. Mama in the front seat. Yeah. Pull over.
I'm never letting. My son is Reginald Kahlil Mckenzie III, and we call him Trey. I'm never letting Trey watch this because that's gonna be once he sees that, he's gonna be like, Big Daddy, stop him! They got the Krispy Kreme out. Big Daddy accomplished a lot, you know, and you got to promise me right then and there that you're gonna do that too, you know.
Hey, Krispy Kreme, man, that's a good protein.
That is zero protein in Krispy Kreme. I want everybody. Hey, Krispy Kreme. He's doing it all for you.
A glass of cold milk and a Krispy Kreme, hot glaze.
Do you feel me?
Yeah.
Now it's like I guess we're getting Krispy Kreme on the way home. You know, that's how that works.
Man, you should have Krispy Kreme sponsor. We need a dozen right here in front of us.
See, there it goes right there. Hey, we got plenty of room for it.
But you know, restaurants, it wasn't, you know, we didn't, I don't have the great flashbacks of, oh man, this restaurant was nice, or this, because we, you know, it wasn't one of the things we did. Mama cooked at home.
Hey,
that was better than any
Krispy
restaurant.
Kreme is fine dining. You know, that's fine right there.
Well, you know, when you talking about stopping somewhere, you talking about kids in the back seat getting excited. We got excited about it. You know, it wasn't like we went there a lot. That's the whole point, you know. So we got that opportunity, and usually that's when it usually happens. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. So, what was your favorite game to play, game or competition or anything, to play against your brothers, and who usually won?
It was so much stuff. We was always outside, you know, playing little makeshift basketball thing that we had up and running around. You know, team sports, it was always more team than anything, because it wasn't a whole bunch of one-on-one, I'm going to beat you, but my team, you know, me, such and such, us three going to whoop y'all in this football game in the backyard or down the street at this yard, you know. So it was that, and, you know, with a little brother, it wasn't a competition. You know, he had his age group. Me and my brother my twin had to go mostly play against older guys, because there was a lot of older guys in our neighborhood, and the younger we were, it wasn't a whole lot, like right at our age, 1 or 2 years younger. It was more 3, 4, 5 years older, and then 2 to 4 years younger. So, but it was mostly girls around our age that was there. You know, they didn't play no football. We couldn't tackle them and stuff. So, but you know, it was you know, from a competitive standpoint, it was, whether it was horse, you know, very seldom could play a one-on-one game, because there was always somebody else playing basketball. So it wasn't a whole bunch of one-on-ones, but playing horse, we compete. It wasn't like one of us won all the time or not. Yeah. So it was, but we competed. Yeah. You know, so if he won one, I'm gonna make sure I get the next one.
You gotta get that lick back.
But then being able to play like card games, spades for the main thing. We played spades, and Mom and Daddy taught us that. Daddy was a big dominoes guy, so we kind of learned how to do those two. And
I know how I feel about my spades and dominoes.
yeah, so spades can get kind of. I was a sore loser.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm a sore loser.
Your Uncle Riley was a sore winner. So, you know.
Well, this has been For the Record. I'm your host, Kahlil Mckenzie, and my guest today has been none other than my father, Reggie McKenzie. Thank you guys for watching, listening.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned for the next episode.